I know. Kind of busy. Things happen, but doesn't matter. Today, we got one. A big one. And so I don't have time to make a joke. In fact, I have so little time that not even got time to make things better between Jack White and his old friends in the Black Keys. Of course, even if I did have more time, I don't think that's going to happen. You know, those blues musicians, and they're fighting, I think. I don't really know if that's how that goes. Anyway, they don't like each other. Read the media. But here we got Jack White's newest album, his second solo album to date, Lazaretto. Otherwise known as the first, maybe second. I think it's the first, though. First official breakup album from Jack White. So Lazaretto is one of those albums that you can kind of just see is absolutely not themed in any way until you really start to dig into the lyrics, because the music itself jumps around all over the page. Like, he inspires genre changes 3 and 4 and 5 times a song. But we'll get into that in a second. First, some history on our magical friend Jack White. Now, I know he seems like a magical unicorn, but he's actually a person. Jack White, in fact, was born on July 9th. He had just had a birthday in 1975. He's an American songwriter, of course, multiple producer, international director, writer, actor, but mostly he's Jack White, the White Stripes, Dead Weather. Of course, my favorite, the Raconteurs, but Jack White has been a solo artist for the past few years now, releasing Blunderbuss in 12 and Lazaretto this year. So, you know, he's been ranked by about everyone as one of the top guitarists of modern day and maybe of all time. He's just amazing. But he actually started off, crazy here, John Anthony Gillis was born in Detroit, Michigan, the youngest of 10 children, 6 brothers and 3 sisters. So yeah, that'll throw you for a loop. He's actually from a Polish Catholic family. I would never have guessed that. I don't know. One of the things I found that is interesting about him is he was almost a preacher instead of a musician. Today's lesson, get behind me, Satan. Anyways, he began playing the drums at the age of 6. As a teenager, White attended the schools while listening to blues rock from the 60s that would influence him into the White Stripes. Eventually, his childhood friend, Dominic Sucha, of Dominic Davis now, could listen to records in Jack's White attic on the weekends and cover old 4-track reels on tape machine. They started doing music from that point on, and in 2005, 60 Minutes, White told Mike Wallace that his life could have turned differently. He got accepted into a seminary at Wisconsin, and he was going to be a priest, as I said. So the life of Jack White would have been way different than we know it now. But first, let's get through this, because I got only a few minutes to do it, and we're going to go straight through. So, anyways, Lazaretto, it's, as most of you can tell if you've heard the album, it's kind of in the same page as his last solo album, Blunderbuss. Some have the same feeling as they did, so they didn't like it before, they're not going to like it now. It's not changed that much, in theme and songwriting ways, at least. Personally, I love Blunderbuss. It's one of Jack's musical things. He just combines all of his, every single thing in his genre wheelhouse into one album, and he just throws it out there because that's everything about who he is, you know? And I love that about him. He channels his blues rocker, his new love for Nashville. He continues, you know, to cut and just mix things up. Even though he's doing the same thing he did on the last album, he changes some things here. Like, this is a very heavily produced album, which is something he's not done as much before. It's definitely layered and thick with different things that are going on in it, and it definitely, you can hear it. If you listen to it, it's not polished. I would say it's layered, more so. This one also is an interesting album because it took him longer than any other album to make. He wrote this, produced it, and mixed it in 18 months, whereas if you remember, that's crazy because it took him 10 days for Elephant. 10 days. 18 months on this one right here. So, I don't know what that means, but it definitely took him the longest. From the top, Three Women, the title track on the album, starts off in what you would expect from a Jack White album. It's kind of, you know, it's got that blues sound, this bluesy rock sound, until you really listen to the changes from his past. It's actually a cover, I didn't know that before, but it's a cover of Blind Willie McTell's. Well, sort of. He rewrote the song in a way that's Jack White's. He uses a fiddle here. As you'll see on the rest of the album, he really goes kind of fiddle crazy on this album, which is great. He had some electronic sounds, sort of sound like his friend and mine. I really like him. Danger Mouse from Broken Bells and Gnarls Barkley, as well as some crazy guitar solos and over the top. His vocal delivery is almost sounding like he's trying to imitate Kanye West in a hip-hop style. I don't know. Who knows? Lazaretto is the second song on the album, and I love this song. Personally, my favorite on the album. It's great. It just is nuts. It's a grimy blues song, or is it? I don't even know. It jumps. This song seemingly changes genre every few seconds. You know, you hear glimpses throughout of blues and funk and jazz and hip hop, and I love the fact that he's able to do this because of the layers, that it still stays in one style, but you definitely hear glimpses throughout the album. The song, again, it features the violin. However, this time it's sort of electrified with a blistering blues solo. This is a very angry at the world song, if I've ever heard one from Jack. Yeah, it's definitely a breakup song. Tippery Ground is sort of a folk soft country song, but I could even say that it'd be called Americana. It's furious, it's fun, and a little fiddle jaunty, but it's really actually the most different on the album. It's about divorce. You can hear that. It's something to do with heartache and might have to do with divorce. The song sticks out to me because it's not really like blues rock Jack or country Jack. It's something different, something he's sort of dabbled in a little bit, but not recently, at least. Would You Fight for My Love? Sort of a southern gothic song, actually. He wears his heart on his sleeve like he does for the whole album, but for this one especially, because this whole song is very personal. He talks about fighting to keep his marriage together and that there isn't much more he can do to stop it from dissolving, and that's personal as it gets. Highball Stepper is literally the lead single, the blasting highlight of the album. It's entirely an instrumental track, and it blows it out of the water. It's a huge blues rock jam with violin making those high screeches that you hear. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Just One Drink is just to the point in the album when the album shifts towards the country side of Jack. This, again, is especially pure. You know, it's almost like he's trying to do like Hotel Yorba a little bit on here, except not as energetic. He's got this still thing, and you hear it again, it's this new fascination with the fiddle on this album. This isn't my favorite Jack White song, but it's still a very good song. Alone in My Home, again, it's sort of like Alone is a swing about a folk rock song. He kills it. I really love it. It's a great song. It's another highlight of the album. It's pretty to listen to, but he's done this folk sound before. It's been a while, I guess. The last time I thought of this kind of a sound was on Get Behind Me, Satan, actually. Entitlement finds Jack actually most jaded at the world he's been on the album in a long time. It puts pity and a breakup song together on the album. It's quite quiet and contemplating, and it's a folk country song about kind of hating himself. That Black Bat Licorice it throws another loop in this after hearing it before because it comes out of nowhere. It combines blues, funk, and folk all into one song, and after those three country songs, it's a nice change-up. It's a great song. It really is just different. It throws in different combinations of instruments than I've heard from him in a while. It even switches up the style as they go along. I don't know. I just really love his genre jumping on this album. It really works. I think I found the culprit is more folk rock driven song. It's a different instrument. It's got changes instrument features for every chorus. Starts with mostly piano and it works its way through every instrument. It's a real power song, power ballady song. But the backing vocals are the one that really shine on this song because they just soar to new heights. On the last track, Juan and Abel, he delivers a closing folk ballad. It's a good song and ends the album perfectly. I don't know. This is an album, it's by far Jack's most diverse, I think. Songwriting-wise, you can hear the jumps in genre. But also it's layered in very thick layers of production. I think you could go back and listen to his other albums, you'll notice more than you will if you just listen to this. But it might help, I don't know. It helps that it was written in so long. He took 18 months to write it. Even like the fan favorite I said, Elephant, was written in 10 days. But it's another chapter in a book of a musical legend. It may not add as much, but I still think that this is a great album with great songs to boot. So check it out. I would recommend it. Highball Stepper, Lazaretto, Alone in My Home is very good. And that Black Bat Licorice, I can say it. Those four I would check out. All right, thanks for listening. I'm giving it 4 to 4.5 in that range. I think 4.5 stars out of 5. Thanks for listening. I've got another one coming right up.